I think just my disability has changed in the last few months, so it's just kind of, I don't know, getting my head around it. And I mean, I don't know, it's, I think, more of a mental thing, because it's like I'm still disabled, I'm still a part of the disability community, but I'm just figuring out my own body and refiguring out my new limitations or lack thereof, and I think that just takes a while to adjust to.
Support,
Yeah.
like a supportive like environment is good, but it's like only a small part, you know, like there's so much they can really help you. Like your help is like inside of you, and like if you
Yeah.
can't perform, like you just can't do anything.
Yeah, if they're like, "Hey, I'm here to support you," and my body's like, "I'm trying to kill you," then I know it's not gonna do a whole lot for certain things. C1 vertebrae was like subluxing, so like partially dislocating off of my C2, which you don't
Uh,
really need to know anything about spines to know that this sounds pretty bad, because it was.
yeah.
Yeah, so when I was turning my head, it was slipping off and it was like pinching the vertebral artery, which is like,
Oh
you know,
no.
the main thing getting blood to your brain. So yeah, that was
So were you just
bad.
like fanning all over the place, or like what was happening?
It caused like a really small mini stroke. Like I hesitate to say that because like
Uh,
didn't have any like lasting effects from it or anything, and so it's like, I don't know, people
hmm.
hear stroke and they freak out. So it wasn't like that kind of thing, but it wasn't great.
Do you feel
Yeah.
like you're a new person, or do you feel like you kind of polished an old version of you?
That's a very good question, because I feel like it's kind of both. Like there's definitely parts of me that I'm like, "Oh, this is like part of kind of my old self from, I don't know, 10 plus years ago that I'm getting back." But at the same time, because I am such a different person now than I was, I don't know, 10 plus years ago, which is a good thing.
I
Um
mean,
I,
yeah, I hope so.
yeah, then in that way, then is a totally new person. So yeah, I'd say aspects of both. So
Mm.
that is a big reason why like working out would not be possible. So
Yeah, I
dog
think
sitting.
you said in the video that you need to say that you're just a lucky person to be in this position to do what you
Yeah,
can.
exactly. So like yeah, I won't deny that I have worked really, really hard, but
Hmm.
I've only like gotten where I've gotten like because I've had the combination of hard work and a lot of luck as well. So I don't want anyone like listening to this with EDS that who isn't in the same spot to be like why, like I don't know, maybe I just need to try harder, like why haven't I been able to have the same success, because like I've been there and that's a really shitty feeling. So I don't want to do that to somebody else, you know. But I do want to celebrate my achievements and be excited
Oh
about where I
yeah.
am. But like I don't want to, you know, yeah, do that to somebody else that's not in the same spot, because that's not fair.
Oh.
A really tricky balance, because with EDS, like you don't want to push yourself too far, because like you don't want to do like actual damage to your joints, because like the more you like sublux and dislocate your joints, like the more it can like wear down your actual joints, which somehow, very thankfully, I haven't had as much issues with that as you would think I have. But yeah, but I think maybe at some points I could have theoretically pushed myself harder, but I didn't know where, like, where to push myself to, like, how
Mhm.
hard was too hard, like, how far was too far, kind of thing. So,
Once you start getting like good nutrition, it's very like it's a very like calming experience though. Like I don't know if you felt this way, but like I mean I don't know how skinny you got, but like did you ever just start when you started eating well, you should started feeling warmer?
yeah, yeah, definitely. Because like used to not be able to warm up whatsoever. I
Yeah.
mean, that was not just like that was nutrition, like lack of nutrition, but also I have dysautonomia, and like so like
Uh,
I can't. It's like I can't properly regulate a lot of body functions, like body temperature and stuff. But I've
mhm.
also been on a treatment for a few years called IVIG, which is like human blood plasma. It's like a blood transfusion, but just the plasma. Yeah, it's a whole thing. And that's helped a lot of my autoimmune diseases, which has helped the dysautonomia as well. So I've been on both sides of it, I guess,
Mhm.
because when you are that sick and like, I mean, I don't know. I think you get a lot of that, but like it's hard to not get absorbed in it, and not everyone does, and that's great. But sometimes it's like when you literally have nothing in your life other than appointments,
Mhm.
like for whatever reason, it just like how what else do you talk about? You have nothing else to focus on, right? And when you get invalidated by doctors constantly,
Hmm.
sometimes it is really helpful to kind of talk to other people that have like similar paths to you and similar conditions and symptoms they deal with, and kind of be like, so I'm not crazy, right? And you kind of like,
Yeah.
it's kind of like a little support group to kind of like remember that you know your body, and
Hmm.
maybe, and not everyone needs that, and that's great if you don't, but I've definitely needed that more times than I can count over the years. If you get like overwhelmed by like text messages and messages in general and stuff, like even narrowing down like the handful of people who you really feel like are people who make you a better person and help you grow as a person, you add like a little, like I think it's like a little sprout emoji, like a little plant, like kind of showing growth, and like you just put that next to
Uh,
their name or whatever. So like visually,
yeah.
when their name pops up, like it might make it mentally easier to respond to them over maybe other people that don't have that as much. And again, it's not, that's
Hmm.
not to like create a hierarchy. It's just like to help remind you of like the people in your life that you should help, or that I guess you should also nurture those friendships because they're also nurturing you.
Hello, welcome to my podcast, to Mics One JoeySooch. I am JoeySooch, and I'll be giving you my to Cadence. It's a pleasure to have Cadence here, who took time out of her busy schedule of taking free photos to join us. Cadence is an actress, singer, dancer, a tubi, and a slam poet, dealing with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome and GI issue. So important. Let's start with an important question for today: Is are you surviving or are you thriving?
Currently, I'm pleased to say I think I'm actually thriving.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it's been a bit of a pleasure to research you, and I know you have a lot of ups and downs, but so like before we get into that, so like we were talking beforehand, and what do you feel is your place in the disability community?
Oh, that is a good question. It's shifted a lot, so I'm still figuring that out. It's been the last few months it's changed, so.
What do you mean by that? Because I feel like you're just it's either like you're disabled or you're not disabled. So like
I mean, I
what?
definitely am disabled, but I think just my disability has changed in the last few months, so it's just kind of, I don't know, getting my head around it. And I mean, it's, I don't know, it's, I think more of a mental thing because it's like I'm still disabled, I'm still a part of the disability community, but I'm just figuring out my own body and refiguring out my new limitations or lack thereof, and I think that just takes a while to adjust to.
Oh, yeah, I mean, any life altering anything will affect literally everything physical, mental, especially your dealing with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome and GI issues. So let me just impress you with some research that I did on you.
Oh,
So here you, I mean, do you want to brag about yourself or do you want me to brag for you?
you can go ahead.
Okay. So you see in a earlier you see in the video that this is like the first year where you had proper nutrition from
Mm.
severe GI issue, you had a break from long hospitalization and surgery, and you have a super supportive and knowledgeable environment. So like, how you feeling?
Well, pretty good. I mean, some of those. This isn't technically the first year. It's just kind of the first year I've had all of them at the same time, which has apparently made all the difference. So, yeah, that's been great.
I think like the health is kind of like the most important thing. It's like the foundation to like life really. Like if we don't have that under control, support
Yeah,
like a supportive like environment is good, but it's like only a small part, you know, like there's so much they can really help you. Like your help is like inside of you, and like if you
yeah,
can't perform, like you just can't do anything.
yeah. If they're like, "Hey, I'm here to support you," and my body's like, "I'm trying to kill you," then I know it's not gonna do a whole lot for certain things.
I know you got like a neck surgery a couple years ago because like your neck was giving your muscles were like giving you lax problems and such. So, like, what surgery have you had gotten? Because I know EDS that your joint get just kebab, not just kebab I don't know why.
I mean that too, honestly. I
So
like
like
that
what?
better. They
Well, I do know
dislocate
like
easily.
yeah. So like I know EDS just dislocate a lot. So like, what surgery have you needed then to like help?
For that one, that was actually 10 years this year, like 10 years ago, which is wild. It doesn't feel like it could be that long, but it was. Yeah, so that one, because the ligaments in my neck were too lax, my C1 vertebrae was like subluxing, so like partially dislocating off of my C2, which you don't
Uh,
really need to know anything about spines to know that this sounds pretty bad because it was.
yeah.
Yeah, so when I was turning my head, it was slipping off and it was like pinching the vertebral artery, which is like,
Oh
you know,
no.
the main thing getting blood to your brain. So yeah, that was
So were you just
bad.
like fanning all over the place, or like what was happening?
It caused like a really small mini stroke. Like I hesitate to say that because like
Uh,
didn't have any like lasting effects from it or anything, and so it's like I don't know, people
hmm.
hear stroke and they freak out. So it wasn't like that kind of thing, but it wasn't great. Yeah. So once they fused that, then I could. Uh, it was like an internal neck brace, so I didn't need to wear the neck brace anymore. Eventually, well, except I still had to
That
wear
makes
it
sense.
for a while after, but eventually. So yeah.
Oh, so you're like neck strong now, I guess.
Well, that's the thing. Like, once you get a fusion, all of the levels of vertebrae underneath it are gonna be eventually weakened because they're taking more strain, because you don't have the
Hmm.
movement at the level that was fused, right? So
Hmm.
that could, I was warned, could be an issue down the road, and already has been a little bit. But knock on wood, like it's hanging in still. Yeah, and I did have to wear the neck brace for a while because like I was still getting some pretty bad headaches and stuff because I still didn't have the proper muscle built up. But again, that goes back to I didn't have the proper nutrition. I didn't so that I couldn't really build muscle properly in my body, and that includes my neck. So yeah, I only just stopped wearing the neck brace altogether, like end of last year.
Wait, so you've been wearing a neck brace on and off basically for like 9 years?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean,
Like,
like, I had like a year or two where I like kind of refused to wear it, but I had like really bad headaches all the time. But other than
uh,
that, like, I was wearing it at very minimum part time. So,
so like, I only followed you for like 72 hours, so like I know your whole life right now. But what has are you saying like it seemed like your nutrition was important, and once you
hmm
could have that established, you were able to work out because it seemed like you had like it's just in last year you just started like working out and like going to the gym and such. So like
that was
what,
like March of
yeah,
this
so like
year.
what happened to like where you were just able to be like, I guess like non-disabled right now?
Okay, well, definitely still disabled, but I think okay. I guess how it also it's hard to know how far to go back, but I guess
Yeah.
did my first like professional show starting in January. It went like January to March. Then I met a friend through that who's a personal trainer, and like yeah, he suggested that I try personal training, and I laughed in his face. And but again, like I like anytime anything like that had been suggested to me before, like I hadn't been in a place where I could do that because my nutrition was shit.
Hmm.
And yeah, so plus like I've been on a couple treatments for a few years now, so that's helped my nutrition and helped some of my autoimmune conditions as well. So I guess because it took a while for that to get better, because like my nutrition's been up and down, like even as recently as like end of last year my nutrition took a big dip again, and we had to I'm on TPN, it's like an like IV nutrition. We had to up that again, so it that I guess like the most recent time my health has been back to a more stable place has been like very end of last year, even beginning of this year. So I guess I just didn't realize it was a possibility to start, I guess, building more muscle and becoming more healthy physically. So it wasn't until I finally tried some personal training that I realized that this might actually be a possibility. I just didn't have the right set of circumstances before.
When you talk about like your diet, was it that your body that kept fucking you over, or was it like you just couldn't find the right like food to like deal with your GI issues?
I guess that's complicated. Like it's hard to say because like IV nutrition, it bypasses all of like your GI tract and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that works for me, but it's not an ideal thing to be on. So whenever you can reduce it and like rely more on your gut, that's definitely more ideal. So for a while, like I like when I first started it back in Summer of 2019, so like 4 years ago, I was on it like seven days a week, but then I got down to 3 days a week. But then that was clearly not enough because I was losing weight and becoming sicker again. Because I'm also on tube feeds, but that uses your gut. It bypasses my stomach, but it still uses my intestines,
Mm,
which work better than my stomach, but are still pretty dysfunctional. So,
mm,
yeah, once we realized, or I convinced them that I definitely needed some more nutrition, then we upped the TPN back to 4 nights a week, and then the rest are still tube feeds, and that seemed to be, at least for now, the magic, I don't know, balance. I can't remember your question.
so are you saying like you have two feet that go into your stomach and then more that goes into your gut directly?
No, so I have like a feeding tube that goes into my intestine. I guess technically it goes through my stomach into my intestine, just
Yeah.
that's the route it takes, but it ends in my intestine. And so that's how I get my tube feeds. But then I
Okay.
get IV nutrition, which literally, like, I have a line in my
Oh, yeah, yeah.
chest
Okay.
and that goes straight into my heart and then my IV system, so my, I guess, venous system. So, yeah,
Did did it
cyborg.
create like you made videos online that was crazy like you just have like the tube hanging and such and like I'm a tubey too. I just
Yeah.
like freak out like anything like could just pull on it and like you're just walking nonchalantly outside with it like hanging like by your knees. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing there?
Wait, me. Oh, I try it and like, what's the word? Like,
Hide it?
cord. Not well, yeah, that too. But like, coil it. That's the word. I tried and,
Okay.
and coil it up
Yeah.
and like put it through like my backpack strap. But there's a lot of line there. It's kind of hard to keep it all the way out of the way, especially if I'm like taking my backpack on and off and stuff. Like,
Yeah, I
yeah.
get it. It's always like nerve-wracking to like deal with it. Like you don't want like it never like came out, but like you don't want to like I don't know, there's something inside your brain that like you want to yank it out, you know? It's just
Uh,
like that.
I don't know. I can't say I necessarily want to yank it out. I mean, I
I
don't
mean,
want to
it
have
would be
it,
really
but
painful, I know, but like there's something about it, like you kind of want to like grab it, like pull it. I don't
huh.
know, there's something,
I
I don't
don't
know,
know.
maybe I'm just weird.
I mean, I'm sure other people experience that. I can't say I at least currently experience that. I mean, definitely there's times where I'm like, I don't want this thing in my body. I'd say most of the
Yeah.
time, but yeah, no, but it's helping me, so I think I'll leave it be for now.
No, yeah, I
But
mean,
also,
uh,
you do bolus feeds, right? Like,
yeah,
yeah, whereas I'm connected to a pump, which is why I always have like a long cord.
yeah. Um,
So that's
my
why I have it in my backpack.
No, I totally get it. I'm just afraid like when you're walking around and anything is just gonna grab onto like
Oh,
when
like it
like you're
catches
leaving
on stuff?
yeah, like when you
Oh
like
yeah, it does
leave
that.
like your room really fast and
Oh yeah.
like you walk like your pants like your pants belt will be on the doorknob.
Oh
Like
yeah, it happens to my tube multiple times a day.
oh my God, nah. I don't know like I'm so afraid of that. I mean I guess I'm just lucky that I can just be myself in like the 10 minutes like the bolus speed
Yeah.
and like my stomach is fine, it's just my throat sucks and I
Yeah.
can't swallow.
Yeah.
So like I can just I guess I'm happy that my stomach is okay. Like so like how
There's
so
many
are you
reasons.
on like a 24/7 kind of feeding
No,
schedule, I guess?
not currently. I have been. Right now, it's just kind of however long it takes to do tube feeds. Actually, I don't know. It changes per day, so actually, I'm not sure how many hours. I'd say it's most of like the day time that I do tube feeding, and then TPN I usually do like overnight. So I do from like late night till like
Ah,
late morning. I usually do 12 hours. So yeah.
okay, yeah. Almost around the clock. I mean now that you're working out, like you must have been having to intake more calories.
Yeah, see, that's the problem that I'm running into right now. Because with TPN, like that's not something you can like just up, as I mentioned a few minutes ago. Like it's a whole process to
Yeah.
increase that. But tube feeds is a lot more flexible. I can just add another carton, except that like my gut doesn't always want to do that.
Oh no.
Yeah, so like time wise, theoretically, like I do still have overnight that I'm not currently running tube feeds. So I guess hours in the day, I have been able to run it fast enough right now where I do have enough hours physically to add another carton, which it has not always been the case historically for me. But the problem is that with that is that those hours that I'm not running tube feeds right now are kind of giving my gut enough of a break that when I start them again the next day, then I'm able to tolerate it better. So it's kind of like, oh, well,
Mm,
I'm wasting those hours. Well, am I? Like,
I get it. Yeah.
yeah, so I
Uh,
haven't really upped much, but so I'm kind of in a spot right now where I'm trying to figure that out. But yeah, to be continued. I'm still, yeah, still figuring that
no,
out.
I mean, it's awesome to see you flourishing and like doing all the new things that you have. Like you said in a message, like you kind of feel like you're a new person. Like, do you feel
Yeah,
like you're a new person, or do you feel like you kind of polished an old version of you?
that's a very good question because I feel like it's kind of both. Like, there's definitely parts of me that I'm like, oh, this is like part of kind of my old self from, I don't know, 10 plus years ago that I'm getting back. But at the same time, because I am such a different person now than I was, I don't know, 10 plus years ago, which is a good thing.
I
Um,
mean,
I,
yeah, I hope so.
yeah, then in that way, then is a totally new person. So yeah, I'd say aspects of both.
I mean, it's also kind of hard with that answer because like we both have progressive diseases. I mean,
Mm.
yours is a little tricky now because like you kind of went like in hills or like valleys, that you went downhill for a while,
Yeah,
and then now you're like uphill again. So like I guess we're
yeah.
not the same anymore. Like maybe
No,
like
it's
you're better
different.
than me now, and like we
No,
could end this conversation.
no,
Oh,
it's. I think mine would be considered like most people use progressive like kind of colloquially, but I guess in a medical sense, I'd say it's more degenerative. It sounds like semantics, but I'd say
yeah.
degenerative is kind of like, I don't know, like my body's wearing down, but it's not necessarily like this is a timeline that, I don't know, like on a cellular level. I don't really know how to explain it or how to.
I'll explain it that your body degenerative, but like you took better steps, I guess, to make it not as bad as it could be because I feel like you didn't work out. And I know dealing with other EDS, I guess they said like working out is like the biggest thing you can help with your body. So I feel like
Mm-hmm.
you working out, and of course you're having like the dancing and stuff that really helps you, and being mobile helps you a lot and being more, I guess. You also, I think, mentioned in a video like there's less pain you have felt because you're working out and you have more muscle and all that.
Yeah.
So I feel like you're helping yourself out so much more versus like 5 years
Yeah.
where you couldn't give a shit.
Yeah, but I do also want to be clear that like that isn't possible for everyone with EDS. So I don't want to come on here and be an asshole and be like, yeah, all you need to do with EDS is just work out. Like, oh my god, I deserve a slap in the face
Yeah.
if I were to
I,
say that. But
I mean, we could
yeah,
say like you can work out a little bit. I think that will help most people
if you
just in
can.
general.
But the
Yeah.
the thing is with EDS is there's like so many comorbidities as well. Like so there's
Hmm.
like lots of times you have other conditions that go hand in hand with that. Like a lot of people have like mitochondrial disease, which I don't have. So
Hmm.
that is a big reason why like working out would not be possible. So
Yeah, I
dogs
think
there.
you said in the video that you need to say that you're just a lucky person to be in this position to do what you
Yeah,
can.
exactly. So like yeah, I won't deny that I have worked really, really hard, but
Hmm.
I've only like gotten where I've gotten like because I've had the combination of hard work and a lot of luck as well. So I don't want anyone like listening to this with EDS that who isn't in the same spot to be like why, like I don't know, maybe I just need to try harder, like why haven't I been able to have the same success, because like I've been there and that's a really shitty feeling. So I don't want to do that to somebody else, you know. But I do want to celebrate my achievements and be excited
Oh
about where I
yeah.
am. But like I don't want to, yeah, do that to somebody else that's not in the same spot because that's not fair.
Oh. Well, well, I think a good question for you. Do you know what you're feeling? Like before you started this working out journey, like did you know what your ceiling was, or are you just kind of just figuring it out along the way?
Sorry, did I know what my what was?
Are you just figuring it out along the way, or do you know what your ceiling is?
Oh, I know I'm definitely just figuring it out along the
Yeah.
way as usual. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what's important. Like every person is their individual self, and you just kind of have to like find you gotta do what you think is right, but also push yourself a little bit because
Yeah, and that's the thing, because it's like it's a really tricky balance because with EDS, like don't want to push yourself too far because like you don't want to do like actual damage to your joints because like the more you like sublux and dislocate your joints, like the more it can like wear down your actual joints, which somehow very thankfully I haven't had as much issues with that as you would think I have. But I think maybe at some points I could have theoretically pushed myself harder, but I didn't know where like where to push myself to, like how
Mhm.
hard was too hard, like how far was too far, kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know, but like I'm trying very hard, easier said than done, to not beat myself up about that because it's like I even if like physically I technically maybe could have like pushed harder physically at certain points. I mean, I guess I couldn't have because I didn't know.
Yeah.
And I was just doing the best I could for my body with the knowledge and circumstances I had at the time. So, yeah.
I mean, I think it's the right decision at the time. Like, yeah, EDS is such a weird disease because, like, on the one hand, you shouldn't do nothing and like
Yeah.
prevent your body, but also at the same time, you kind of have to do like exercise and you kind of it's like
Yeah.
good, but it's also like bad, but like it helps you feel better, but it's also damaging to
Yeah.
your body. So it's like that's a weird like catch 22, really.
Yes, it is. No, it 100% is. And you're constantly trying to walk this like tightrope balancing act of like just the right amount of exercise, like not too much, not too little, but for so many reasons, like it becomes harder and harder to have physical activity. But yeah, but then you get deconditioned and you get worse. So yeah, a lot of my problem was deconditioning because of the nutrition, and then
Mm.
it becomes a vicious cycle. But it's really hard and it's sometimes impossible to pull yourself out of that. So yeah, I'm very thankful that I was able to finally kind of find a little gap out of that vicious cycle and squeeze out of it.
Yeah, like I definitely know how good nutrition feels, and it feels amazing when you've just
Yeah.
been feeling like shit for a very
Yeah.
long time. Like you kind of almost forget about it, but it's also very like once you start getting like good nutrition, it's very like I don't know, it's a very like calming experience though. Like I don't know if you felt this way, but like I mean I don't know how skinny you got, but like did you ever just start when you started eating well, you should started feeling warmer?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Because like used to not be able to warm up whatsoever. I
Yeah.
mean, that was not just like that was nutrition, like lack of nutrition, but also I have dysautonomia, and like so like
Uh
I can't. It's like I can't properly regulate a lot of body functions like body temperature and stuff. But I've
mhm.
also been on a treatment for a few years called IVIG, which is like human blood plasma. It's like a blood transfusion, but just the plasma. Yeah, it's a whole thing. And that's helped a lot of my autoimmune diseases, which has helped the dysautonomia as well. So I don't know, a combination of that and then the proper nutrition. Now I can actually warm up, which is cool. I'm a big fan. And yeah, sometimes I even get overheated, which is weird. Um,
Well, okay.
yeah, it's wild.
Show up.
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean I have a heat you should buy a heated blanket. That helps so
Oh
much at
yeah, I
night.
have one. And
Yeah, it's
multiple
so
heating
great.
pads. Yep.
Yeah, it's so great, especially in
Yep.
wintertime. Oof, I just
Yeah.
said it like 10 minutes before you head into bed. The greatest feeling
Yeah.
ever.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it's crazy how like your body just like fucking you over, but it's also crazy to see you flourishing too. And like,
Yeah.
how do you feel yourself flourishing among people or that are not, or like maybe not flourishing, but maybe I mean the disability community kind of. I think I feel like to me, I think it's more negative to me than positive, just
It
because I
depends
have to
on the
find.
corners of the internet you're in.
Yeah, I mean, I find guests for like, for my podcast and stuff, so I'm following like so many people, but I feel a lot burned out from it because everyone is like talking about the diseases and all this
Yeah.
stuff, and I think it's too much. I think people get lost in there. All right, thank
Pause.
you. Yeah. Okay.
Speaking of
Sorry about
illness,
that.
the sirens.
Yeah, I live in New York City, so yeah.
No, I figured.
Someone had to die right when we were talking,
Oh my
and
god, I would
screw
consider
them.
it.
But yeah, no, it's like I feel like too many people are too disability focused that like their whole identity, like someone would be going to an airport and they'll talk about the disease and like how far they came and that stuff. And I'm like, bro, you're just going to the airport. Like not everything has to be disability focused or like a great story. Like you're just going to the airport. Like sometimes you just have to like live normally, I guess. Like
Yeah, I
kind of like
think, like, I hear
yeah,
you. I do really hear you because I
yeah.
definitely have times where I feel like that. I think that gets, I don't know, that gets tricky, I think, because I've been on both sides of it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you are that sick and, like, I mean, I don't know, I think you get a lot of that, but, like, it's hard to not get absorbed in it, and not everyone does, and that's great, but sometimes it's like when you literally have nothing in your life other than appointments,
Mm-hmm.
like for whatever reason, it just like how what else do you talk about? You have nothing else to focus on, right? And other people and different people have like different, I guess, accounts, or like social media profiles
Mm-hmm.
for what they want to talk about, and some people like they've decided to like they want to focus more on like the ins and outs of just what it's like to live as, I don't know, I guess their flavor of disability and that kind of stuff. And I think there is definitely there's very much a place for that, like especially like new people who are newly diagnosed and they kind of like want a support group, but that also is a double-edged sword because I don't know. I've definitely been there where you're like diagnosed with stuff, and then you like see people's social media, and all you see is like the how terrible their life is, and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
because like
Yeah.
yeah, you don't want to think like that's your future kind of thing. But at the same time, I do appreciate people being transparent and being real about stuff and not sugarcoating because I think it's kind of worse to have it sugarcoated and then you kind of get to that stage in your life and you're like, okay, nobody prepared me for this. So yeah, I don't know. Like I've definitely heard people with that opinion like when I posted more about my disability and I was pretty hurt by it. Like I do understand it, but it does feel hurtful when you're just trying to live your life and you just want to post on social media and a lot of that happens to be disability focused and then people are like, I don't want to hear it. And I'm like, okay, unfollow me, you know? So like believe me, I hear you, but like to give kind of the other side of it,
Yeah.
I do get that. So like and so like I said, okay, unfollow me. Well, to be honest, I have unfollowed a lot of accounts that only post
Oh.
disability stuff, but not like people that I've gotten closer to and people that like I've followed for a long time. Like I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm just like I'm unfollowing you because that's all you post about. Like that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is like if I didn't really make a personal connection with a person already and like that seems to be what their account is more focused on. Like for my own mental health, I did have to unfollow a lot of pages and so like I do hear that, but the thing is like I didn't message them and tell them that, you know? Like like I did what I needed to do for my own mental health and they're doing what they need to do for their own mental health. So I guess what I'm saying is there's a place for both and I see both perspectives very much and I don't know, I struggle with that balance as well.
I mean, I only been following you for like 72 hours, so I really don't know, but I feel like you're okay because I feel like, well, I mean, now you're in a better, like, I don't know, maybe you were different a year ago, so I can't really comment on
I think
that.
so. Yeah. I
Like,
did
I can't
definitely used to
comment on
post
like
about
what
it a
your
lot more.
style is, but like, for like your style seems fun, like you're a funny person, like you're entertaining, like it's like, so like I wouldn't be bothered by you, but there are people that are like, post like every single day. They post like every single challenge they're dealing
Yeah.
with, and so it's like you don't have to share anything at all. Like you don't have to.
Yeah.
It's more thought. It's really more toxic sharing it. Because one, you're kind of living it over again, and I
Mhm.
feel like it's hurting you more than it's helping you at
Yeah.
this point. And I feel like if you're like if you're if you don't have a lot of energy for like life, you might as well not do social media because you could use that energy that you put on social media for something else. that could be more fruitful because then it creates this vicious cycle because if you post anything negative, other people will comment with their negativity and it keeps
Yeah.
compacting to you and you feel even worse and then it's like it's not helping you at all. Like I kind of
Yeah.
saw with myself that it's not like people will come to me and like I'm around the podcast, so of course I'm coming in knowing you're gonna share your story and I'm cool with that. But like
Yeah.
people come to me that non-podcasters are sharing their story, I'm just like I don't like I'm trying to be empathetic, but like I'm already burnt out and like not
Yeah.
helping. You sharing your story with me is not helping me at all, and it doesn't really help you at all. Like I understand you do want to share and stuff, but
Hmm.
like it doesn't to me it
Like
doesn't make
trauma
like a
dumping.
difference at all. Like I don't
Yeah.
really like to me like advocacy kind of doesn't matter though. Like to me like no one like I have a rated D like even if everyone knew about it like it's not gonna do anything. It's not gonna help anybody. It's a
Yeah.
cool fact. Like you might win $1,000 on Jeopardy. Like that's the most I can give you, you know. But like like to me, I'd like to be more like entertaining. Like I hope I'm on my social media, people find me funny and entertaining and doing cool shit.
Hmm.
Like sure,
Yeah.
I'll
And
show some disability stuff, but like I think we're human. I feel some people just forget that they have more than disability. They're just human
yeah.
beings, you know.
No, and I do totally hear that. But again, like I feel like it also depends on where you're coming from. And again, I don't know a ton of your story either, so I'm not make and try not to make assumptions, but like did you deal with like medical gaslighting a ton and stuff like that? Like where they said it
Um,
was like
from
mental and
from time to time, but like I don't want to be told by other people about it. Like I already have my own shit to deal with. Like I
yeah.
don't want to care about other people's shit and like hear other stories. Like doesn't make me feel any better or worse. I just know it's out there. Like I don't need like approval of someone else that had the same story. It doesn't really
Hmm.
make me feel any better. It literally does nothing to me. Like I'd rather like
Yeah.
talk to you about literally anything else but disability because like you're more than that. Like let's talk about dancing and
Yeah.
poetry or if it, like that will help me more versus just talking about disability because at the end of the day we can't help each other in our disability ways. Like sure we might have like tips
Hmm.
of like tube feeding, I don't know, cleaning and shit, but at the end of the day like we're gonna talk about like normal human stuff. Like
Yeah.
no one realistically gonna go out for lunch to talk about disability stuff. No, that just
Well,
doesn't
we're definitely
that's
not
not how
going
it
out for
works.
lunch, period, so sorry.
Yeah, it'll be like the most awkward dinner, lunch that we went together. Because
You're
like
like, are you
we
gonna
don't
order? And
order
we're both like,
anything.
no. They're like, get out.
Yeah,
Okay, fine.
yeah, like
Discrimination. No kidding. Um, yeah.
yeah.
End case. But getting back on track, I totally hear you, and I feel the same way completely right now. But I think again, to offer another perspective, for me, like I have found solace in like when it's
Hmm.
consensual and someone's not just trauma dumping on me because that sucks.
Yeah.
Then I have found a lot of comfort in like certain friendships that like I've met through like online communities when you're dealing, especially it's very common when you're like female or female perceived and young or young perceived. I'm not that young anymore, but everyone thinks I am.
Yeah.
And
Wait, how old are you? You're like,
do you know? Do you want to guess?
aren't you like 29 or something?
Oh yeah, yeah, I'm almost 30, but everyone looking at me thinks I'm like early 20s at the very latest, and so I
Oh,
get treated a lot younger.
oh,
Yeah.
like, do I have to give you a kids meal after this? Like, should I
Apparently.
do?
Well, no, I can't eat it. Oh my gosh, it's so insensitive. Sorry. I couldn't tell myself
I'll
that.
just give you the toy, I guess. You can play with the toy.
Yeah, I'll take the toy. Just don't give me the food. Um, but yeah, no, I think when you get invalidated by doctors constantly,
Hmm.
sometimes it is really helpful to kind of talk to other people that have like similar paths to you and similar conditions and symptoms they deal with and kind of be like, so I'm not crazy, right? And you kind of like,
Yeah.
it's kind of like a little support group to kind of like remember that you know your body and maybe
Hmm.
and not everyone needs that, and that's great if you don't, but I've definitely needed that more times than I can count over the years. So yeah, in that sense, I think it's good. But I think there is a big difference between like making friendships with people who get it and talking about that when you need to, and then having just randos on social media just trauma dumping in your inbox. Like there's a huge difference between the two. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always like open to people. Like it's tricky for me because like I don't want to be a huge dick and like say
Yeah.
no. Like most people are like respective of it, but like I feel like a lot of people come to me because they like my personality and they want to like
Mm-hmm.
they don't have anybody else to share their stuff with. They're not like
Yeah.
open with like social media and stuff, so they want to come to me, and I totally get that, and I'm awesome and I get it. But it's like it doesn't do me any good at all. It's just more like
Mm-hmm.
here's all the shit I'm dealing with. It's like I can't help you in any capacity. I can
Yeah.
understand you. I can like confirm that you're not a crazy person, but like you really are crazy. Like I just haven't seen it yet, but like yeah, it's a really tricky situation and like I'm getting bigger and bigger, but you seem like you're getting bigger and bigger over me, which is crazy, which is great too. So
Accidentally.
congrats on your
Thanks.
10K.
Thanks.
Uh, but yeah, it's just like I don't know, like I did want to like meet people that are like the same mindset as me and like want to like grow me and like make life great. Like I don't want
Yeah.
I just feel like I've always been anchored by other people and I don't
Yeah.
want to be anchored by anyone and I can't. It's a difficult situation to be in. Like can't lift you. Like lifting myself is already fucking hard. Like I don't want to keep doing it even more. Like I have a great self-esteem and like I don't have a great environment around me. Like if I'm going through
Mm-hmm.
shit, I go through it alone. So like I'm the only one that
Yeah.
picks myself up. No, I can't
Yeah.
reach out to anyone because it doesn't hit the same. I mean, it's also I'm a guy, so it's a little different in that aspect. But yeah, I don't. I'm just like if I'm meeting someone, I don't want to meet someone. I have to lift them up because I'm
Yeah.
already kind of tired of dealing with myself, and
Oh yeah, no, believe me, I'm 100% in the same
like I
spot
just
right
want to
now.
like yeah, I did want to like come and like have lunch with you. Like I don't want to like hear about your problem. Like I just want to have a good time. Okay, like
Yeah.
there'll be times where like I come out of the conversation, like I was a support person for like a Zoom, like I was like the host and stuff, and I would come out like horrible afterwards.
Yeah.
And like I was like I can't do this because it just makes me feel horrible. Like there's nothing I can do,
Yeah.
and so I had to quit. But
No, I'm
yeah,
I'm there very much right now, and I think it's important to make those boundaries, both for yourself and even letting other people know those are your boundaries. And as a chronic people pleaser, I am not great at that, but I have worked very hard, and I'm getting there. And it's only been literally this year that I've tried to set some more of those boundaries and actually follow through on them. And it's tricky because it's like I don't ever want it to seem like or to actually be like where I'm like, hey, like I don't want to like talk to my friends anymore that like or like not as much like because they are experiencing I don't know more I guess I don't know disability related incidences each day.
yeah.
I don't know. I'm not explaining it very well, but like I also need to surround myself by other things, and that doesn't necessarily mean those are friends who aren't disabled. It's just like friends that want or are able to focus on things that are less disability related because like for my own mental health I really need that and I always have but I especially feel like right now I really need that and so sometimes that does mean putting in more time to certain friendships that you feel are helping to nurture you and grow you and actually I read about a little bit about that in some book and don't ask which book it was because I don't remember um, but like it
What's a
suggested
book? I don't
putting
know what a book is.
oh I know but it's like it even suggested like if you get like overwhelmed by like text messages and messages in general and stuff like even narrowing down like the handful of people who you really feel like are people who make you a better person and help you grow as a person you add like a little like I think it's like a little sprout emoji, like a little plant, like kind of showing growth, and like you just put that next to
Uh,
their name or whatever. So like visually,
yeah.
when their name pops up, like it might make it mentally easier to respond to them over maybe other people that don't have that as much. And again, it's not that's
Uh-huh.
not to like create a hierarchy. It's just like to help remind you of like the people in your life that you should help, or that I guess you should also nurture those friendships because they're also nurturing you, right? Like it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I've found some benefits to that. Yeah, that's been a very recent thing though.
Yeah, I think kind of like, I think we're growing up, right? You know, like you just put
Yeah.
your effort into a relationship that are worth putting in. Like, I think, I don't know if you have felt this, but like when you go through your like shit, you kind of like drop the dead weight, like you find out who your real friends are and such. And then
Yeah.
when you start to like bloom again, you just don't put effort into that relationship because they weren't there for you and any times of
Yeah.
need or reached out or anything. So like it's kind of a good, it's a good horrible test, as
Yeah.
you can say. I like your friendship, like who are really there, who are just around, I guess.
Yeah, that's true as well.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely tricky. Yeah, it's definitely tricky. It's also kind of trauma to be built relationship on on a disability sometimes, like the negative part of it, because you don't want to build up on toxicity. Like you want to
Yeah.
build up on like actual mutual, I don't know, interest and stuff. Like you get like at the end of the day, you don't talk about your disability. I'm sure like after this we'll talk about like other random shit. Like we're never
I
gonna talk
hope
about
so.
disability again, you know?
Yeah, no, and I totally hear that, and I'm in such a different place than I was before, and I don't know, the internet is shifting and stuff now, and I haven't like I've like unfollowed and like left a whole bunch of groups, so maybe it's still like this,
Oh
I
my
don't know,
God.
but at least when I was younger, like years ago, like I think there was a lot of like pressure. It's like, oh, you're disabled and you're on the internet. You have to post every detail about your life. And I definitely went through a super cringy phase where I did more of that. And then now I look back and
I'm
you
gonna
have no idea
scroll
how many posts
frantically
I've
after this
deleted.
to watch
Oh
it.
no, but I have archived so much shit. I'm sure I've missed a lot of it,
Uh,
but I have archived like hundreds of posts slash
no,
deleted them because I can't
I don't
deal.
have time to do that. Like every single post
Thank
I have
God.
ever made is always in the past because I don't have time for that. And then if you have time to like scroll to my like page like 10 years ago, like you gotta get a life, bro. Like,
I
come
mean,
on.
I agree, but some people that don't have lives will do that, and I don't want to deal with that. So I have archived a ton of stuff before because my page used to be private, but I made it public a couple months ago, and
Okay.
I went back and archived a bunch of stuff before I did that.
I mean, as a public profile picture, I feel like it should be more cautious, but at the same time, like I just don't care. Like life is so short, and I'm like, I don't have time to
Mm,
like worry about my image and stuff. Like I'm gonna post something, I'm just gonna post. Like I have a naked photo of
that's good.
myself on the internet. Like I'm gonna deal with it. Like okay, I
Yeah.
own it. That's something I did. Maybe I don't think I'll hate it in 10 years. Maybe I'll get canceled in 10 years for something that seems normal now. I don't know. Maybe the computation will get us canceled. I don't know. Like, but like I don't know. I think kind of doing what I feel at the moment. Like I don't think I'm a bad person in any
No.
capacity. I mean, I'm not racist or anything. I probably said something racist that doesn't seem racist, but could be racist.
But then you
Yeah, I
learn
mean,
and grow, hopefully.
yeah, I mean, I feel like we're also a little sensitive at the moment too, and I keep trying to push
I'm not
that.
touching that with a 10-foot pole.
I mean, I'm also trying to gather an audience that will see who I am as a person, and that will. So if I do say something offensive, it won't be offensive to them, and they'll like understand that like I am not really a piece of shit. I'm actually a good person. I just have the dark sense of humor and that I need
Yeah.
like a flashlight to light the room up.
And there's a place for that, but at the same time, as much as it feels bad, like if I do say or do something that is racist or ableist or homophobic or any of those things, like I do want to know about it and I can make my own informed decisions after, but I do want people to
Oh
be
yeah,
honest with me and not feel like they have to like not tell me because of how I'll react. Like I always want to create an environment where people can tell me like,
yeah.
"Hey, what you said hurt me," and I can be like, "Let me grow from that," you know? So maybe people see that as like taking it too far, but at least personally, like I want to know because I want to grow.
It's really hard. I think the disability community, like I have this problem kind of too, that I feel like we're too PC and too, it's like seem like there's one large group of disability people that's like you either fit in or like you're just like excommunicated. And I
Yeah.
don't feel like I fit in at all. Like I'm not a guy that like posts about my disability all the time. I'm not like I'm a helpful person, but like I don't post like helpful things, if that makes sense. Like I'm not
How
this
dare you?
hardcore disability person. Like I would post on my thing where like please sit on my face and like nothing with disability related. But like it's just like to me it's fun, but like people don't like that. And I fine, I do get it. Like okay, not everyone's as sexually out there as I am. But fine.
Yeah. But you're allowed
But like
that
it
even though you're disabled, you know?
yeah, I mean I think like I'm just developing an audience that will like me for me and like I'm not trying to cater
Hmm.
to someone. I don't know, I think it's if you like say the wrong opinion, I feel like the whole community of people, there's too much of a hive mind. So, like, I'll give an example. So, someone posted about abortions on with disability people and such. So
Uh-oh.
I commented on her page first saying I feel like disability people should be aborted if they're like unable to like li live on by themselves and such and like at a young age and such. And then no, wait, no, that can't get me canceled. But no, I said
Uh,
disability people shouldn't have kids if they're unable to take care for themselves because that's just, for one, that's just shitty parenting because as a parent you should be able to raise them and, not have
well, what if
limits
you
and like,
have a partner as well? Because just like there's more to taking care of a child than being able to lift them physically, right?
what, if you're do with your partner, but if you're relying on like your family member to help raise a child that you can't, and you yourself physically need help, then you shouldn't have kids because then you're not being a good parent because you're putting the responsibility on everyone else and you're being selfish because all you want is a child, but you don't want to deal with it. Like you're not gonna wake up in the middle of the night to take care of it. You're not gonna
Well,
do the responsibility of
I
that.
think it's like super individual to each thing. So I don't want to make a blanket statement about that because like if you have
Yeah,
an arrangement with your family where like they very much want to be part of the kid's life, then I think again there's more to taking care of a child than being able to do middle of the night feedings, right? Like there's a lot of people who were physically taken care of, like they always had food and shelter, but like they were emotionally neglected, right? So like there's shitty parenting in other ways that's just less
yeah.
talked about. So again, like I don't know, we're allowed to different opinions, but I think I think yeah, I think people maybe miss a lot of the aspects of parenting because they can't look past the physical aspects of it. But I do hear what you're saying. I just don't fully agree.
Yeah, I totally respect it. Yeah, just saying that if you can't take care of yourself, how can you take care of someone else? Because as a parent, it's your and your partner's responsibility to take care of it without any other help,
Yeah.
because that's just how it is. And this, I think, is unfair to the child too. Like it's just,
And for
and it's
myself, I
all,
feel that way. Like I'm not having kids largely for that reason. So like I hear you because I
yeah,
agree for myself, but other people might have different arrangements, and I'm definitely not going to be like, hey, like what are you doing? You know?
nah. I think it should be a blanket statement. If you can't take care of yourself, you shouldn't be able to have kids because that's just I don't think that's just fair to really everybody because we all know like raising a kid is hard and it's also if you have a disability, you also don't want to pass the disability to the other person because just because you're okay with it doesn't mean that child is gonna be okay with it. And like like you just can't provide the same amount of support that others have were able to give to you. And I don't think it creates the best environment for the child. Like you want the child to be better than when you were before. I meet a lot of kids that are not doing as well because they're having a lot of issues and the parents having issues and like it just created a really bad environment. Like I don't think it's that great. Like think of this not you don't have to have kids. Like
I know.
sure you can do it, but it's like I don't think it's right.
I just think I think there's a lot of nuance and gray area in that as well. But just yeah,
No, well, I totally respect your opinion. I mean, there's no laws. I don't think there's any law that would be passed to say that. I think it's just a personal opinion. But just to go back to the thing, so like a lot of moms were like crucifying me on the internet about it, like how dare you? And some people didn't even think I was disabled at all either. Where like if you go
you're
on my
clearly
page,
faking it.
yeah, like you go on my page for like 10 seconds like I'm clearly disabled. Like I understand like and also like talking to other guests too, so I have like a lot of experiences like in the whole field. I feel like my opinion hold weight, but now like everyone was in the high mind of like defending the person. Like if they want to have a child, like go have a child. I'm like, okay, like this is not working. And then like the person that owned the page actually agreed with me, but she did not defend me on it because she didn't want to lose followers and such.
Oh,
So I was
I don't
like,
know.
come on, defend me, please. Like I'm here. But like, hey, but like I had kind of on the internet, you just have to own your opinion on it. I
Yeah,
think it's
and I mean,
great.
it depends on
Yeah,
like as long as you're willing to deal with the I don't know, not splashback, whatever, the backlash. I mean, yeah, but I think personally for me that gets a little close to eugenics for my comfort. So
yeah.
yeah.
No, I
Anyways,
mean, yeah, it's all just your opinion, and there's no laws about it in any capacity. It's just, I guess, a feeling about it. And I don't know, I just feel like I always have the unpopular opinion of every group. So I feel, I don't, like, do you, well, let's just bring it back to you. So since you are more active in your life, like, do you feel still part of the disability community, or do you still feel like you're kind of separating from it?
well, that's kind of the big question I'm dealing with right now. Like, logically and realistically, like, I'm definitely very much still part of the disability community, but
Mm,
because it's changed so much, like, I don't know, I've had a really hard time with it because I like also like I want to be able to post about exciting things that are happening to me,
yeah.
and people have been really excited for me and really lovely about it, but I also like don't want to seem like I'm like throwing it in people's faces that aren't in the same spot, and it's really hard when you feel like you're leaving friends behind that you were on the same level with. Like you've comforted and supported each other through some really hard things in your lives, and you've been in very like similar spots, like medically and disability wise, and then all of a sudden you're improving when they're still getting worse. Like it's really hard to just be happy about where you're at when you're just so sad that like you can't have the same for your friends as well, if that makes sense.
I totally get it. Like I'm sure you had your times where like you wanted to post something, but, like you didn't want to because you didn't like want to hurt people that
Yeah.
you do generally like and want to support. But I feel like if you're a good friend, like you want to support and like want to be happy for other people that do can make it. Like want to, like we're all kind of doing our best really, and like if you're able
Yeah.
to reach higher, like I'm not gonna. I mean, being a shitty friend would be just hold you by your feet so you can't go anywhere. But like, I would want you to
Totally.
thrive and like be good. Like if you can be in better shape, like hell yeah, go for it. Reach for the stars.
Totally. And I know if it was the other way around, and it has been the other way around, like I totally would and have felt that way. Like I want them to be their best person, live their best life and stuff. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that it wasn't hard to see, you know?
Yeah.
And so if people feel like they need to unfollow me for their own mental health, like I've unfollowed other people for my own mental health, like, hey, like, you do what you need to do, right? So
Uh,
like, I'm not
uh,
gonna hold that against people.
I
I know,
mean,
I see your
I,
face, but
I mean, just talking to you for like the past hour, like I don't feel like your intentions are ever bad at all. I don't know why anyone would want to unfollow you unless they just
it's,
like
mm,
we kind of mentioned before, like we don't have a personal connection to that. I totally get that, but like, I don't have any reason to unfollow you. Like I can understand
well,
why people
and
want
you
to
don't,
unfollow
thankfully,
me,
but no,
but like,
no, I think it's just, I think it's less about intentions and more about like, if people started following me when I used to post more disability related stuff and that's what
mm,
they're looking for and now I don't do that anymore, okay, I guess it makes sense to
uh,
unfollow me. So again, it's very individualized. Like it's
I get
not
it.
up to me
Yeah.
to say what they want to see, but like my page has shifted a lot from what it used to be. My opinion, I think, is good, and I'm happy with, just on a
Shows
personal
growth.
level. But yeah, but if that's not what people want to see, well, as long as
Mm.
they're not jerks about it, just quietly unfollow me, you know. So
I mean, I had people just block me for some reason. I don't know why. Like I didn't do anything. No, I mean, I
you're
totally get
like,
it. Like, yeah, I totally get where you're coming
yeah,
from. Yeah, I think that's what happens to a lot of disability people. Like
mm-hmm.
sometimes, like if you like think of it like as a business, the more disability focus you have or your niche, the more likes you get. So you kind of want to continue that. And if you did
Yeah.
a post about like I don't know, like let's say you're just at a beach doing nothing, like you might get less posts, less likes, so like you wanting to post
Yeah.
more, but then it creates this vicious cycle where like it seems like all you do is talk about your disability, but like
Yeah.
also get the most likes, so it's kind of like this weird, like what do you like? Do you post because what you want to do personally, or do you kind of post for like the vanity of it and like you want
Yeah.
more, like you want the likes and you want to show up and you want to see the triple digits and all that, triple digit likes. Like so it's like it makes it really complicated. I
Yeah.
think it's kind of the audience you wanna create. Like I don't I want to create an audience where I can be like myself and also post like sexy photos of myself and like funny and
Yeah.
then I have to be disability focused. It can be like any other marginalized group and such and just have like I'm a very like philosophical person. So like I talked about Barbie and one video and didn't do that well, but like I just found it really interesting to me, and I just hope people are just attracted to who I am as a person, and like likes all my
Mm.
aspects of it, and instead of just like, I'm just following the person because of this disability. Well, like no, I feel like you're following me because of your personality. Like I'm
Yeah.
following you because of your personality. Like if you just never post about disability again, and you're just like I don't know, like you're on Dancing with the Stars and some shit. Like I'm gonna still follow you because I think you're a cool person. I do
Thank
more
you.
personality based versus I'm just following this person because they're a disability. That's not a good enough reason in
Yeah.
any capacity.
And see, and that's what I've shifted to, and what I hope other people feel as well. But if there's still people left over from like when I used to mostly post about
Hmm.
disability, then like I understand if they don't want to follow me anymore. Like that's up to them. But yeah, I don't know. Like
Wait,
I
do you check people that unfollow you?
I don't even know how.
Oh, there's like an
How?
app there's like an
Oh
app
God,
like you have to
no.
open
That
it
would
up first.
tank my mental health. There's no way.
I did do it like once every couple of months just to see like what I do. Just like
I
who
don't
did
think
I
I could
piss
mentally
off?
handle it.
It really definitely affects you because there's some people that I like generally really liked, and like
Yeah.
I said something that they didn't like about, and I totally get that. Um,
Yeah.
but like I
Yeah, I
mean,
know myself. I know I can't handle that. I am a very sensitive person. So
yeah, I
if
don't know.
people need to unfollow me, that's great. Just don't let me know.
I totally get it. Just I don't know. There's something I want to know. I also unfollow people if they don't support like my photos after a while. Like I
Mm,
just feel like if you're not supporting me, I don't want to support you in any capacity, and
that's
I
fair.
just have to move on. I mean, I shows
Yeah,
growth. Like you kind of, oh, social media is just a weird place to
it
there's like you
is.
follow, like I'm sure you follow people, but you have never ever liked one photo of them. You might even like
Probably.
them a little bit, but like, you don't even do
Sometimes I
anything. It's just,
forget, like especially Instagram is set up so weirdly. Honestly, I've complained about this before. Like because like you're looking at a photo and then you like scroll down to read the caption, and if the caption's really long, you have to freaking
uh,
scroll all the way up to the top to like it again. Sometimes I just forget and I just keep scrolling because
oh
I forget I haven't liked
no,
it. I
oh man,
know.
I'm gonna unfollow you now. Well,
Oh,
gotta
clearly.
prevent it.
But you know what I mean? Like by the time you've finished reading that
Yeah.
monstrous caption, like I'm not taking another 5 seconds to scroll back to the top and like it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest.
I mean, like if I really liked the person, I would like the photo kind of really no
First.
matter what it is, actually. I'm dad supported. I'll just follow you no matter
Yeah.
like if you have it even whatever the caption like I hate babies, I'll still like it because you like my shit, so I'm gonna return the favor in a way. But yeah,
If
like
I
I
trust
like
that
it.
person, then I will. Like if I know it's someone that is not gonna have a horrible, horrible caption, then yeah, I'll just like see their photo and automatically like it and then read the caption. But sometimes if you do that with someone you don't know as well, you like the photo and then you're like scrolling and reading and then you're like, oh shit, and you like go back up and unlike it because you just don't know. But
Yeah, it's a
for me
weird
personally,
it's a weird social media is such a weird place though. I don't know.
hmm
It couldn't like I took like a 2 month. I don't know if you I don't do you remember how you found me?
oh, I think it was through Emily. Through
Emily. Is she the one that had the
Through
two?
Instagram. Yeah,
Does she
she
have
had
it?
a transplant. You can edit this out,
Emily? Do you know?
please. I
I
don't
know
remember
there's
her
so many.
last name.
Uh,
She's
is she
really
in
nice and she
tattoos?
has a podcast. I don't think so. A podcast called like Pop, um, something like that. Um,
Oh, I know. Emmy in the basement.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, she's awesome. Yeah, I like her a lot.
I'm pretty sure it was either through her or it was through the what's it called? Special books for special kids or something like that.
Oh yeah. Okay. No, I'm
I
just
can't
curious
remember.
how you.
Is one of those.
Yeah, yeah, just curious of how people find me. It's cool.
Yeah, it was
It's
either one of the two of those. I can't remember which came first.
it's very cool to like when you follow people. Like I feel like we live that like the world is so big, but I feel like we live in such a small place. Like there are so many other people following like you already. Like you following them and like you found each other somehow. I'm like I feel like there's only like 100 people out here. Like everyone like follows each other. It's crazy though. Like it's like everyone kind of knows each other. It's like a weird,
Yeah, well,
weird,
it's
weird
created a
community.
well, yeah, like the social media has created a much smaller world, like with the connections and stuff. Like you can, I don't know, you can know people for 10 years on Facebook and you've never met them in real life. That doesn't necessarily mean they're not a good friend. Like I have friends that I would consider myself closer to that I haven't met in real life than some people that I see
Mm,
regularly. So I think, and it depends, not always, but like if you actually talk to them on a personal level and stuff like, I mean, and then some of them I've finally met after years and years and years, and it's like you pick up in person as if you've known each other in person your whole life. At least I
I
have
mean,
experienced that a few times.
have you ever met someone that like they're really cool, like to a taxi, and the moment you meet them, it's like it
Yes,
will definitely not work out.
yes, no hesitation, yes,
Mm.
and that's all I'll
Yeah,
say.
I was like hoping, I was just hoping like this conversation was gonna end well because like I don't know, like we were vibing to chat. So I was like a small part of me is like I was hoping like you were not lame in real life. 'Cause I definitely met some people that are
Hopefully,
just lame in
how am
real
I doing?
life and I'm like, oh my God. Like how like I don't understand like how some people can be or sometimes vice versa, sometimes they're really lame by text, but they're really cool in person.
I think everyone has their strengths, and sometimes it's easier to put your thoughts out when you've already edited them.
No, I get it, but I know I just don't understand like if you're cool in person, how can you not be cool on text because it's like your personality? Like how do you
You mean rather than
like
the other way
I feel
around?
like no, but I'm saying like if you have a good personality, that should equate to be having a good personality to text. You know,
Uh,
like it should like I want to feel like you in the text. Like I don't like some I don't know I don't understand it. Like I feel like I'm just like that same person from text, versus like on and meeting in person. Like and I think it's
well,
the same
yeah.
with you. But there's some people that are just like not the same. I was like,
I think it's like
did I talk to the same person? Like what's
well, I think
happening?
it's because like sometimes it's easier, like especially if you like have like significant anxiety or like other challenges that make it
Uh,
harder. Like sometimes it's easier to let your true self show when you've been able to
yeah.
edit it. So maybe people meet you in real life and they're like, oh, like you're awkward and weird. It's like, yeah, yeah, hi, and I've been there for myself as well. But I think yeah, maybe and this isn't always the case, but maybe not if you meet someone and they don't appear the same as what they were over text. It doesn't necessarily mean like oh like the person over text was fake. Well, that might just be because they were able they had the I guess accommodations even to be able to show their true selves like that way, and then in real life like they needed more time. I know I could maybe I'm being overly generous, but I that is how I
I think
feel.
I think it's offending them a little too much. I don't know. I just feel it a little weird. But anyway,
I'm not saying
so
that you're not right in a lot of cases. I'm just saying I've seen it the other way as well.
uh, I think it's a more rare thing. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Like the special books by special kids, he's horrible at texting, but he's amazing in person.
And a lot of people are
And
like that. Yeah.
I know, and it's really bothersome to me because like I feel like a lot of relationship hasn't formed enough because of your bad texting skills, and I feel like we have to text. Like we've been text not us because we grew up without the internet. Like we're like last generation was amazing in itself. But like most of us had grew up texting, so I feel like we should know how to text and like punctuation and
Well, but
emojis and
again, Yeah, I know might roll your eyes, but I think like it's sometimes like people have barriers to why they might not be a good texter if you're talking about punctuation and stuff because like there's lots of learning disabilities and there's also like English as a second language or third or fourth, you know. So I think there's a lot of reasons why I at least I personally don't think that we should base how we think of a person on their texting
Or
skills.
they're just lame people. We can need to say that. They could just be lame for all we
And
know.
that could happen, but I think maybe people don't give people the benefit of the doubt enough, at least in my opinion.
Uh,
I've lost
yeah,
your
I think some.
video.
I think some people are just lame and they just want to admit it. But anyways, just finish this up. So before I take the mic away from you, is there anything you want to say, promote, any words of wisdom, the winning lottery numbers? Hello, Mike is all yours.
Oh, if winning lottery numbers, I would keep those. Don't got any of those.
Oh man.
I know I'm selfish. I don't know. I'm not really sure.
You can say whatever you want. You can say the pledge of allegiance if you want.
I'm very
Totally.
Canadian.
Uh, sorry about that. Yeah, the Canadian
Wow, that's
national
very
anthem.
American of you.
That
um, well, I'm not gonna sing the Canadian national anthem or anything, so
would be
uh,
hilarious though if you did.
oh my God. Well, just let me go grab my maple syrup and my pet beaver. Um,
Yes, there you go.
otherwise, I don't know. I think just, I guess to summarize, just I want people to live their best lives, and also if that looks a lot differently than what your life used to look like, that's okay. You're a human that you're supposed to grow, you're supposed to change, and like if you're a lot different than you were a few years ago, like look at that as a good thing rather than as a like I don't know, as a negative thing. Like just focus on where you are now. And yeah, and don't be afraid. Like don't let your past hold you back as far as where you are now because that's what's important. So don't get too so caught up in the past that you don't have a future. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that drop dead weight. Our friends are not good for you. That are stunting your growth.
Yeah.
You should always been growing. Okay. Thank you, Candace, so much for giving me your time and expertise. Thank you,
Thanks
everyone,
for
for
having
listening.
me.
If you want to follow Cadence, her Instagram link will be in the description below. Thank you, and I'll see everyone next time. Bye.
Bye.